Why isn't there a delimiter character in ASCII? My question is, why is there no specific delimiter character? One that would be used for all types of delimiting. We have special characters for new line, print settings, etc. Why do we sometimes use commas, spaces, tabs, etc. if those are common text characters? Is there history behind this? Like maybe they didn't need delimiter characters when ASCII or the like was made? What would seem to make sense to me? Have a special delimiter character that its sole purpose is to delimit separate values when needed.
Delimiters already exist in ASCII. Decimal 28 to 31, hex 1C1F, are delimiters. This includes the file, record, group and unit separators. I would assume we do not use them, as it is easier to type keyboard characters that do not require multiple keys to type a single character. This also allows for easier interchange between different formats, as well. Comma-separated values will work on virtually any system, ASCII compliant, or not.
As already noted, ASCII includes delimiters. The problem is not that an extra key is needed during data entry to include the delimiters. Control is no harder to use than Shift for an uppercase or other special printable character, for example, at $. The problem is that traditionally those control characters are not directly visible. Even tab, carriage return and line feed, which produce immediate actions, do not produce visible output. You can't tell the difference on a teletype between tabs and spaces. You can't tell the difference between line feeds and spaces to end of line plus wrap to next line. Similarly, the delimiters do not have a defined printable image. They may show in some modern text editors, and they may produce immediate actions in various devices, but they don't leave a mark. All of this doesn't matter if data is only designed to be machine readable, i.e., what we commonly refer to as binary files. But text for data entry and transfer between systems is often, deliberately, human readable. If it is going to be human readable, the delimiters need to be printable.
As was mentioned in another answer, ASCII does have delimiters. Looking here, 1, these are mentioned. And these are used. For example, U plus 001C, octal 34, is the default subset, 2, string for new oct. This URL. This URL.
This is mainly historical. In the old days of informatics, data files were mostly fixed with fields files, because it was the natural I/O for languages like Fortran 4 and COBOL, and characters for first field, N for second, etc. Then C language provided a scan function that splitted input on, sets off, white spaces, and people started to use free format for data files containing numbers. But that led to messy results when some fields could contain spaces. Scanf is known as a poor man's parser. So as the other standard function for splitting was stuck, which used one single delimiter, most English-speaking people started to use the comma as separator, because it is easy to manually write a separated value file in a text editor. Then national language support came into the game. In some European languages, French, the decimal point is the comma. Guys were used to the decimal point, but less techies were not. So French versions of Windows started to define the semicolon as the separator to allow the hum in decimal numbers. In the meanwhile, some realized that when fields always had close link, a tab character, which existed on all keyboards, allowed to provide a nice vertical alignment, and that was the reason for a third standard. Finally, standardization began to be a fact, and RFC 4180 emerged in 2005. It did define the comma to be the official separator, but as Windows had decided to play the NLS game, tools and libraries wanting to process real files had to adapt to various possible delimiters. And that is the reason why in 2021, we have many possible delimiters in CSV files.
If you want to support